Hello, welcome, PreAlgebra. Hey, this is a short recording just because my computer froze at the end of class, so it is a makeup recording. Today in class, we covered Unit 3, starting out with the lesson called Perfect Squares. Perfect Squares. So in our notebooks, what I want you to make sure that you write down what a perfect square is. A perfect square is the product of some integer with itself. So for example, 9 is a square number because 3 squared is written as 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Perfect squares. 1 squared. 1 times 1, 1 is a square number. So a perfect square is the product of some integer with itself. Pause the video and write this down. This icon is a Q. Write this down. We did watch a video on what is a perfect square. It's a little song that helps you to memorize the perfect squares. I'm going to actually have you write them down here in just a moment. You can check it out on YouTube if you'd like. One moment. Here are our perfect square charts. So I want you to look, I know there's a lot of information on here. Here's negatives, here's positives. We're going to look at the positives first. So as I mentioned, 1 squared. 1 squared is 1 times 1. 1 is a perfect square. 2 squared is 2 times 2. 4 is a perfect square. We mentioned 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. So we know 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, and then there's 49. All of these are perfect squares. Take a hot second, write these down, or take a snip. I would go all the way up to, our song went all the way up to 16 squared, 256. If you know 149, 16, 25, 36, and then there's 49, if you know them, it's going to be a very easy lesson for you. So please take a moment and write those down. I do have to say that even when we have negative integers, like a -1 squared, that's saying -1 times -1 equals a +1. A negative times a negative is always a positive. So no matter if my negative sign is in front of my base or not, my perfect square is always going to be 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, so on and so forth. So perfect squares are always positive numbers. Now I did go the extra mile today and I stuck this chart in Buzz. Resources from class will take you to my perfect square chart. And I said down here at the bottom, perfect squares are always positive numbers, so that you have that as a resource. Let's go ahead and practice a little. So if I said solve 2 squared, 2 squared is like saying 2 times 2. So your answer would be 4. And remember, my answer is always a positive number. 7 squared. 7 times 7, 49. Good. Okay, -5 squared. That's like saying -5 times -5. It should be 25. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. And all of our perfect squares are positive answers. Here's one more. -12 squared. -12 times -12. You can look at your chart, or you can do it in your brain, or you could do it on a calculator. 144. 144. So notice, no matter if my base is a positive or negative, my answer is always going to be positive. Oop, threw a curveball at you. 12 squared, 12 times 12. We just did that one. 144, 144. Notice how doesn't matter if it's a negative 12 squared or a positive 12 squared. My answer is always going to be 144. All right, you got this. Hopefully you wrote down this chart and you know your perfect squares: 149, 1625, 36, and then there's 49. All right. In order to get your work done today, everyone, log into Acellus. Remember, if you're having any difficulty logging into Acellus, it's the first part of your email as your ID, and your password is your I-forward password. Once you are there, all you need to do is work on, I believe it's step 96. The video is about 2 minutes, and then you have a quiz with questions. Once you finish one video, one quiz, you know that you are finished. Please make sure that you get that done today. Stay on track. And last but not least, your word of the day is pumpkins. Have a super glorious day. Email me with any questions, and I'll see you tomorrow.